Hi, I'm Mark, this is Mark's Tech Vlogs on YouTube, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys a review of the Audio-Technica AT-LP60X turntable. So I recently picked up this turntable from Audio-Technica for myself, and I thought I'd bring you guys a review and share my thoughts on it. Now, this is a belt-driven turntable, and if you look at other reviews for it, you'll see that lots of people call it a starter turntable. However, I do think it's certainly a starter to mid-level turntable. And this is for a whole variety of reasons, in part the quality of it, but also if you compare it to a lot of your kind of £50 starter turntables, or for ones that have the kind of briefcase style, actually it's a massive step up from those. Of course, it is also a step up in price, but it only retails at about £135, which still makes it a really affordable turntable, especially for the quality you get with it. If you want to spend a little bit more, for an extra £35, you can get the LP60X USB model, which also has a USB out for you to record your records on a computer. Now personally, when you've got lots of streaming services out there for listening to music, I didn't really see the point of this feature, so I didn't spend the extra money on that. I just wanted something that would play my records and give me really good quality audio. But other than that USB feature, those two models are very, very similar. The same goes for the model they offer, which also has Bluetooth built in. So let's kick off the review and talk about design. So the design of this turntable is pretty modern, but it also looks like a lot of turntables. It has a largely black body with a silver plate for the vinyl, and this has a black slip mat that sits on top of it. This record player also has a clear lid which you can remove if you need to. The base of it has four pretty chunky rounded feet. The front of the player has play, stop and arm control buttons on the right hand side and a speed button on the left hand side. The back of it has a 3.5mm jack output and a switch for changing the output mode. Then if you look at the top of the record player itself, it's got that clear cover I talked about before, and then under that you've got the controls for adjusting the size of the record. You've got a 7-inch adapter for records with larger holes, and then you've got the record player arm itself. One thing you will notice if you compare this to other record players is it does actually have a slightly smaller profile. And it achieves this while still being able to cover the whole record while it's playing. Personally, I really like this design and I really can't fault it at all. So let's talk about the specification. So this is a belt-driven record player, which you attach during the setup process. This is great because it means you can easily get new belts in the future if you need to. Now this record player is fully automatic, which means when you press play, the arm lifts up automatically and goes to the right position on your record, depending on whether you set it to 12 or 7-inch. At the end, the arm lifts up again, goes back to the starting position and the record stops spinning. This makes it super easy to use. It also has a replaceable cartridge for the stylus, and replaceable ones cost around £16. This player supports playing both 33 1/3 and 45 RPM speeds, and also 12 and 7-inch records. With that extra adapter as well for the 7-inch records with bigger holes, this will cover all of your needs. It also has a built-in preamp which supports phono and line level outputs. This is great because you can just connect it to a pair of speakers. So what about setup? So when you receive this record player, you do need to do a little bit of setup yourself. And this is because that metal plate and a belt aren't attached during transport. This, however, is pretty simple. You simply place the metal plate where it should go, remove the tape that's holding the belt in place, and use that ribbon to hook the belt over the part of the record player it needs to be hooked on. At that point, you also want to make sure the belt isn't bent or kinked, but this is really easy to do. This is also documented really well in the instructions that come with it. So let's get on to the important thing and talk about what this record player is like to use. So I picked this up because on certain types of records, my existing record player was doing a little bit of a skip. This was slightly odd because it's only like 1 in 20 records, but I felt like it was maybe time for something new. And a couple of weeks later, I'm really happy with that decision. The fully automatic feature is great because it ensures that a record starts at the right place every single time, and you literally just have to hit play once you've adjusted the size and the speed. I found that this automatic arm works really well for both 7-inch and 12-inch records. And of course, the most important thing to talk about is sound quality, and the sound quality from this is really good. And of course, the sound quality you get is going to depend on the speakers you attach it to, but my speakers aren't massively expensive and it still does a really good job. In my opinion, it's got a really nice balance of sound and also a really nice warmth about it. Now it's worth saying in this review that I'm not coming at this having owned expensive record players in the past. My previous record players have been one of those briefcase ones, and then also a slightly older Sony one. And that probably makes me the target market for this record player, because this is probably for someone who wants to step up without having to spend a huge amount of money. And actually, I am really impressed with the sound quality of this. It also doesn't skip at all, which is great. So all in all, what's the verdict? So at a fairly affordable price of £135, this is a kind of entry to mid-level record player that packs in a lot. The sound quality is great, it looks good, and those fully automated features are really good to have. So if you're looking for a turntable that plays records really well and has a good sound quality, then this is certainly one to look at, especially because it does have that built-in preamp. Now I can't comment on how you'll feel about it if you've owned expensive record players in the past, but if you're coming from some of the entry-level ones, you will notice a massive difference. And having looked around at a lot of other record players before buying this, I think this is probably one of the best ones on the market for the price range. This is certainly for people who want a high quality record player and aren't bothered about extra features like Bluetooth or kind of USB. If you do want either of those features, Audio-Technica do models of the same record player but with those extra features, which I will link below as well. If you guys have found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. If you've got any questions, do stick them below. This is something I've purchased for myself and something I'm using regularly, and so I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you've got. If you do want to pick them up, there are some links below as well, and I'll see you guys again soon.